Hi everyone, we're Group 3, Dean, Nick, Samira, and Trisha, and we are presenting on Meza Made, a new venture that is in the process of expanding. Our presentation will hit the following 4 areas: the introduction, an industry and company analysis, strategy, policies and financials, and finally conclusions.
All right, guys. So here is a little bit of background on Mezamade. So it was founded in 2022 by a couple, and the two owners of Mezamade are Sam and Javier. So Sam has 18 years of experience in quick service restaurants, bringing extensive culinary expertise, menu planning, and operational efficiency. And then Javier, on the other hand, has over 10 years of experience in sales, processing, crucial skills in customer relationship management, market understanding, and strategic outreach. Their combined experience offers a very balanced perspective on both customer expectations and provider challenges that are going to be going on throughout this process. Next slide. So some of the key issues is that the order capacity limited to 40 transactions per day because they're such a small company and they're looking to expand. And then limited experience in running own businesses. So like no formal like business education. As much as they have a lot of experience, it's just them two. So they kind of got to find ways to build more experience around them. Transitioning to industry trends. So in Madeira, in the place itself, Madeira's annual growth rate is 2.4% in population and has increased by 6.5% since the last census. So it's a growing community. So when we're looking at a restaurant to open up or we're looking at a company in itself, you want to look at the industry trends of growth to make sure you're opening up in an area where you're going to grow. So especially like growing and supporting local businesses post-COVID. During COVID, there was a lot of, opportunity to where people wanted to promote small businesses and, make sure that they were all doing good and not just the big companies that were being affected. So, this is definitely something that we've seen as an industry post-COVID. And then for market trends, we have a rotational seasonal menu, diverse food options, and we really want to focus on quality instead of quantity, because since we're a small local restaurant, we get a lot of our ingredients locally sourced. So looking at the food sales, so as you can see from 2019 all the way to 2022, the food sales have gone up, but so has the establishments as well. So, as restaurants are opening up more and more and more throughout California, so are the sales as well. So as you can tell, it's a growing industry, and it's something that good thing that Mezamade is going to be in it as well. So looking at the whole economic forecast, so we'll see a gradual increase in daily sales from 500 to more than likely 1,500 to $2,500 in 2 years. And the reason for this gradual increase is establishment of an in-store location and collaborations with local markets, artists, and sellers. And then for the basis of projection, so we're growing trust within the community. So, not just, growing trust within ourselves, but within our customer base as well. And the expansion from delivery to an in-store hub will also increase visibility as well. So moving on to the competitive landscape. So it's a very competitive landscape in Madeira. Competition is a driving force in any industry. And, for Mezamade, they understand and they're navigating the competitive landscape so they can get strategic advantages. So, and competitors really serve as a benchmark and they provide insights into industry standards, customer expectations, and innovative practices. So two of the competitive landscapes that we found was the Vineyard Restaurant and Bar, and they have been established since 1777. So that means they have a really loyal customer fan base and they've been open for 30 or so years. They have a 4.5-star rating on TripAdvisor, so that they're really well known within the community and everyone has great things to say about them. And they also use local ingredients from a farm to table aspect. So something that Mezamade also does too, but they also have really close ties with the community. And the second one was a Black Bear Diner, and this is a local chain that is highly rated on the West Coast. And they have competitive prices with Mezamade, and they also have friendly staff and a very popular menu that people look at as well. So that's kind of like the competitive analysis that we have looked at. Moving on to the possible challenges. So for materials, the biggest challenge is reliance on local and seasonal ingredients. This may face hurdles due to climate change variations. So let's say farmers don't have the best harvest season. That means their ingredient prices and their sales are going to be going up in price. So that means we're going to have to spend more to get more, which means we're going to have to charge more. So that's something that we're going to have to look at as like a challenge. And then the impact of ensuring like consistent supply chain becomes crucial, especially with higher pricing to maintain stability in product offerings. Moving on to the financial piece of it, there's limited initial investment, which can lead to potential challenges during renovations and us opening up an in-store location, is our new more product challenge. And then securing additional funding is vital for achieving long-term growth goals. So including the establishment in more in-store locations, that's definitely something we're gonna have to see as a challenge financially. Moving on to preferences. So adaptation. So like we previously talked about, just evolving customer preferences in dietary choices, delivery options, and in-dining experiences. So necessitating and staying attained to trends and feedback. Also, another preference challenge is having flexibility. So we think Mezimade should adjust its menu and services to align with the challenge customer expectations and preferences. And then the last thing for technology is integration needs. So developing tech solutions for operational efficiency, including delivery process, enhancements, and order management. And then for challenges, balancing technological advancement with personalized touch and ensuring seamless integration might be challenging as well.
So to now talk about the organizational structure, since they just started in 2022, the structure is very simple. Current roles, Sam oversees the menu creation, food preparation, and baking activities, while Javier manages delivery and order production. Both of them are involved in the administrative tasks, like I said, since they just started. As they grow and try to open up a chain, the future concerns are that they're going to need more people and team expansion, and the introduction of department heads may arise. They need clear lines of authority, which is crucial for efficiency and cohesion within their business. And then they need to recruit specialists like marketing professionals and a restaurant manager that will optimize how they run their business overall. When we talk about the marketing and promotion side of Mezimade, they have tiered pricing that ranges from $3 to $12 per item. This allows for the customers that come in, no matter whether they're looking for a full meal or a snack, to have an option to purchase from Mezimade. Current menu includes sandwiches, salads, baked goods, yogurt, coffee, and juices that are all made with local and seasonal ingredients. Flexibility needed if supplies change, like we talked about earlier, that can be a challenge with sourcing ingredients locally, depending on the availability. But Mezime caters to a lot of different preferences of their customers. And then for advertising, all of it is done through Instagram and ordering as well. As they grow and open new brick and mortar establishment, diversification will allow greater market penetration, getting into more marketing strategies. Mesomade's production and operations, they source from diverse, local, fresh suppliers, high quality, sustainable ingredients, and then backups are necessary for supply chain issues, like we mentioned. They prioritize quality over quantity, access demand patterns for efficient scheduling, and increased quantity. They don't want to sacrifice quality, so they're all about quality and locally sourced product. They developed strong supplier relationships and implement inventory management for cost effectiveness. And it's very important to keep that as they continue to scale up in this sector, to keep those relationships strong with their suppliers. Finances, like we said, Sam and Javier and Mezimade have just recently started, are new in this business industry. So financial records are currently incomplete. We emphasize to them the importance of accurate financial records for future success. Current sales for them, though, we do know exceeds the cost of goods and other expenses. Sales will have to increase with rent, utilities, and salaries as they grow into a brick and mortar and as their business expands. Right now, there are no external investors. All funding comes from the founders, Sam and Javier. We have them considering seeking external funding to support short-term growth phase, to give them a little extra funding as they look to expand. For personnel, the current employees are just the owners, Sam and Javier. New employees would be necessary to increase sales per day. As they look to serve more people, they're going to need more employees to fulfill that need. The owners are very motivated to see business succeed. They need to develop a human resource strategy to inspire new employees to have that motivation. So, to keep the new hires motivated and eager, just like they are, to serve great food to the customers. And then their net income after taxes provides owner salary. New employee salaries and benefits will be costly, important to create a proper pay structure. So for Mezimade, it's going to be crucial for them to not only find great employees, but to also compensate them at a competitive rate compared to the industry standard. And with that, they're going to need very great financial records and keeping track of what they spend. And then we have the growth strategy. For Mezimade, The strategy we identified and implemented was we want to increase daily transaction capacity from 40 to 100 within 12 months and to 150 within 24 months. Why we picked this strategy? Operational constraints identified as a bottleneck to meeting growing demand for food delivery, and the predicted population growth in Madera County increases customer base. So right now, Mezamade is almost selling out every time they go out to serve the community. Because they only have 2 employees and they only use this Instagram delivery-based model, we identified that as a bottleneck. And as they expand, they will be able to fulfill more orders and grow as Madera grows to fit that customer base.
Rejected alternative that we carefully studied in our search of the best approach for Mezamade. Maintaining status quo, this strategy does not match with the company's overarching goal of market growth and expansion. Diversification into a new area. The existing demand in Madera represent a tremendous growth possibility that would be destroyed if resources were shifted prematurely into the undiscovered area. Partnership with existing delivery services, keep control over brand identity, customer experience, and quality might compromise Mezamade's unique value proposition and control over its offering, as well as decreasing profit. Major action and goals. Goal 1, brick and mortar expansion. This ambitious endeavor involves establishing a dedicated physical location to enhance transaction capacity and create an immersive in-store dining experience. Goal 2, which is financial management. Financial management is a systematic recording of financial transactions in order to promote data-driven decision-making and assure operational efficiency. Goal 3. Marketing and promotion. An extensive advertising strategy on digital platforms, local media, and in the community to raise awareness of greater capacity and the new in-store experiences. Goal 4, hiring and training. Recruitment of additional staff complemented by a comprehensive training program covering order processing, food preparation, and delivery protocols. Goal 5, technology upgrade. Investment in point-of-sale, customer relationship management, and inventory management system to enhance efficiency. Key policy objective to support growth strategy. Establish a clear transition plan from a delivery-only service to a restaurant model, addressing staffing, operation, and customer service. Increase brand visibility and attract new customers as the business transition to a restaurant model. Streamline operation to meet the increased production targets and ensure customer satisfaction. Inaccurate records in the form of cash flow statement, balance sheet, and income statement. Implement cost control measure to increase profit. Establish a comprehensive employee training and development program to ensure consistent quality in customer service.
One of the first areas to look at in the financials for Mezamade is the income statement. Unfortunately, the Mezas don't have any background really in business, even though they've spent a lot of time working in sales and the food service industry. So they aren't adept at keeping really strong financial records. So one of our recommendations for them, of course, is going to start being keeping strong financial records. We're going to give them these templates so that they can fill in the financial information as it comes. In 2023, they generated approximately $80,000 in income, with listed expenses shown here. Cost of goods sold, approximately 20% of sales, small amount of utilities, and really that's it. They don't have any other employees, they don't owe any rent, and so their net income after taxes is going to be in the 50s. And we're projecting that as they increase sales, of course, cost of goods sold is going to go up. Their operating expenses, though, will also go up. As they expand into their brick and mortar, they're going to need to hire employees and pay them wages. They're going to have to pay rent. They'll need to be doing additional marketing and advertising beyond just Instagram. And they are going to be, during 2024, doing renovations and purchasing new equipment and fixtures for their location. So their other operating expenses in 2024 are going to be high. However, that can be partially offset by the investment income that they're bringing in from their own personal investments. And we see in 2025, we're projecting approximately $250,000 in sales, which works out to their 150 transactions a day. That is their stated goal. Again, the cash flow statement, they don't really have one, so we've tried to generate one based on what they've told us. And we can see that one of the challenges for the Mezzas is that their sole income is coming from this business. So as we've generated this cash flow statement, we've decided that the ending cash balance is probably going to be their salary. So they won't have a beginning cash balance in the next year. But as they become more profitable in ensuing years, they should be able to keep some cash in the business and continue to reinvest in the business. The balance sheets were also generated based on the limited financial information that we have and predictions about what will happen in the future. So one of the things that we are going to recommend is that they prepay their income taxes quarterly. So those are going to be the prepaid expenses in 2024 and 2025. And as they continue to, again, buy furniture and fixtures, that will help improve their long-term assets and their capital in their business. They are currently not planning to take out any loans, though it may be a good strategy to think about doing so that they're not having to constantly eat into their cash. Perhaps if they got a business loan, they could have a little bit of breathing room within their day-to-day operations. And finally, we were able to calculate some selected ratios and compare those to industry trends. The first is the current ratio. For them, it's the same as their quick ratio. They don't maintain inventory because it's food and it's perishable. And so because the company really didn't start until 2022 and didn't start keeping records of finances until this past year, we have the industry trends for 2021, 22, 23, and then we have the Mezza-Made trends. And, until they start acquiring more liabilities, we're seeing that the assets, eventually their asset to liability ratio may slightly exceed that of the restaurant industry as a whole. But we're anticipating that this might change as they acquire more assets, but also consider acquiring more liability. We also looked at asset turnover, which is a metric of how much each dollar in assets contributes to sales. You can see the restaurant industry as a whole, it's pretty low, whereas Mezza-Made is pretty high. But again, this is because they don't have very many assets. So pretty much all of their sales are because of the limited assets they have. As they start to acquire more assets, this will change. With our profit margins this year, we see a relatively high profit margin because they have so few expenses. They're not paying rent, they're not paying salaries. They're just paying themselves. But as we look at them opening up their storefront, having to pay salaries, having to pay rent, we see that their profit margins will be more in line with that of the industry. Finally, the last metric that we were able to look at was the return on equity. They have very little equity. So all of their sales are really going to lead to this. So their profit margin, especially this year, their profit margin is really high. And when you break down the return on equity equation, that's what happens. You can see an alteration in the return on equity because of the alteration of the profit margin. As the profit margin falls more in line with the industry, that brings the return on equity down. It's still higher than that of the industry as a whole. But again, we anticipate that as the company gets more assets, gets more equity, as those profit margins come more in line, we should start to see the return on equity come more in line with the industry as a whole. And so in conclusion, Mezza-Made is currently a successful delivery-only model, and they have strong word of mouth and social media profiles. They have a solid plan for a gradual expansion into a storefront, offering takeout and some dine-in options. Our key recommendation is going to be that it's really important for them to keep accurate financial records, particularly with the added expenses that they're anticipating with rent and salaries. They have a long-term 10-year plan of multiple locations, and we believe that's feasible once the first location reaches its maximum probability. And finally, we think that once they open their storefront, you should all visit them for brunch soon.